Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Part 4 of our 91 Works Yokomo YZ10 build. So finally got it finished. Parts came in today. Got my Protect servo, a couple other things, and was able to get this thing all finished and buttoned up. Still got a mount. I got an extra set of tires, or extra set of rims, the white rims. Got some tires as far as some slicks. I hate mountain tires, but I'm going to get those mounted up this weekend. And get this thing ready, start setting ride height and stuff, because man, we're sitting low. I can't even get my fingers underneath there, so we're gonna have to raise that ride height. I got all the full electronics, everything in it, even a motor fan. So this thing is ready to go. So I'll set the ride height. We'll get that taken care of. The only thing I got to put in here now is a transponder, which obviously I don't think that's gonna affect ride height too much. So did get things buttoned up, so let's take a little look-see under the hood here. And there we are. Protect servo, thin battery, rocket fan, big fly sky receiver like we have in our 870 XR10 Pro. And yeah, came out pretty nice. Reedy SP5 motor on there, a 17.5. I do got to figure out, I just tied this for now until I figure out something else, but I'm going to try to either 3D print like some type of wire manager that like clips on this side. And because this gets really, really close to the spur gear and there's not a whole lot of room in there. So are running a 24 tooth pinion. So same setup, really the same setup as our 870C. The only difference is we're not running a G2, we're running a Pro. And a little bit different servo on there, but everything powers up. I aligned everything, all the fans work, so that's ready to go. Really turned out well. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. Got the carbon bridge on there for the steering, made that modification. That works just fine. All of our turnbuckles and stuff are adjusted. Got a nice 90-degree throw on our servo arm, running a 15.5 servo arm. Factory team out of there. So that 15.5 is just the right height and everything to get this to work properly on there. So really happy with how well it turned out. The one thing I did do, and it's hard to see, and maybe we'll just take the battery out here, is on the 870s, they come with basically, a spine that runs on the bottom of the chassis because they didn't originally come with an upper deck. The 91 Works comes with an upper deck, so they don't include that bottom spline. So I had an extra one around from my 870, and as you can see, I cut it right up the beginning of the servo, and I still run that in there. And one item is, it's hard to see, but I notch out the back, and then I run my sensor wire and my fan wire underneath there. That way I know it's not going to get up into the belt at all. And runs through the back, so no cut wires or anything there. It keeps that nice and neat as well, and then just prevents the belt, under load or something like that, coming back and forth and either getting into the side of the servo or the back side of the receiver. So it did that on there as well, just as kind of a precautionary thing. Like I said, it's not really needed, but I did it because I just felt it helped with my wire management as far as running my sensor wire and also my fan underneath through the notch and then along the backside to power those up. So that worked out well. And then obviously kind of my big battery tabs in here. So those worked good. And I put those on all my rides. So the only thing, like I said, that I really gotta put in here is really a transponder. So I will get one of those and slide one in on a side here. I think in my 870C, I ran it over here in the back. So I'll probably do that as well, just to help with some of the balance and stuff. And I didn't have any issue with my 870C balance-wise racing that thing. So that seemed to do pretty well with the balance and the standard configuration. I know a lot of guys go to different chassis that move the battery on the other side and what have you. And I'm telling you, it's, in a race scenario, it does not make that big a difference. Depending on what you use. Obviously, a full-size servo, full-size receiver, and a big ESC. That weight really offsets this. And, on a bigger track with maybe some bigger jumps, maybe it's more of an issue. And more, I don't notice at all. I mean, my 870 seems to jump pretty flat, turns right and turns left pretty good. So I don't notice anything there. So I set my 91 Works up the same because I've already kind of tried and trued that on my 870C, and that worked well. So again, I hate mounting up tires, but I'll mount up some slicks, get those mounted this weekend. Start running these things, and then MHOR has a vintage race scheduled for, I want to say it's March 15th, and then Wednesday the 12th. They're going to try to run a vintage class, even though I run with all the modern stuff, and it's fun. I don't finish last. I don't finish first, but I do all right. So I'm excited to get this out there. And man, it's soft. So I am going to change 35 at the front, 32 and a half in the rear rather than 32 and a half and 30, because this is pretty plush. I mean, it might work adjusting the height a little bit, just getting an 18 millimeter ride height. Might be good, and we don't have any big jumps and more, but I probably am just going to up the weight in the shocks on there. And then I probably am going to cut out the bottom on the shocks and do some spacers on there so I can get rid of a spacer up here and kind of tilt the shocks back more, because they are pretty much straight up and down, which I don't know if that's going to be a big issue or not. I mean, there's no real binding or anything, but I do want to get them a little slanted back there, as they originally kind of are intended. So everything else works good. Our B7 hinge mounts look good and are in there. And yeah, we're ready to go. So this is kind of part 4, and I think there probably won't be another video on this. This is pretty much it, and we'll probably do some updates as far as like our race reports or something like that. But as far as upgrades, we're pretty much done. We may do something with the rear hubs, go to a newer rear hub setup, like a B74 setup or something like that, and maybe with the front as well. We'll see what kind of happens here, so we can kind of modernize this a little bit. But we did modernize it with the shocks. The turnbuckles worked out awesome. Have all the adjustability we need on there. Yeah, racing with their battery strap. I mean, I run these in all my Yokomos, and that's been great. So really happy with the Exo shock towers in the wing mount as well. So run that on my 870C as well. We'll run that on this. Just going to make a slight mod to the front to fix the angle of the shocks a little bit, but wanted to kind of finish this video up. It's done. Like I said, we got everything together, everything linked to our fly sky, and trimmed everything out. So I think we're in pretty good shape. So I'll hook up, I do got to hook up the Hobby Wing programmer to the XR10 Pro and just make sure this isn't like on an on-road setting, because I'm pretty sure they come standard on an on-road setting. So I'll switch that to off-road. Look through there, drag brake and some stuff like that, even though I prefer to dial that out on the radio. So we'll look through that. But guys, it's done. Like, comment, subscribe below, and look for some race footage on this one soon. Thanks.